My friends are my power. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
What is going on, my guys, gals, and non-binary?
I fucking knew it. Go ahead with the intro.
No, I just wanted to steal your thunder because you called me out on it immediately.
That's okay. I'm used to it. What is going on, guys, gals, non-binary pals? Welcome back to Nerd Explosion, the weekly podcast based on a monthly theme. We nerd out, but whatever we want. I'm Cameron.
And I'm Kate, and we're covering one of my most favoriteest topics of all time, and I'm so fucking here for it.
Yes, because
so
the day this episode goes out is actually going to be February 1st. So I'm like, you know what? We might as well just go with the next theme, the next actual theme, because we got kind of a late start in January.
And we didn't have an actual theme. Off.
So now we're getting back to actual themes. And the theme for February is Unsolved Mysteries.
Yes, I love a good unsolved mystery.
I got to thinking on this topic because there was a video I watched the other day, which is actually the topic for today's episode. And I'm not going to say it yet because I kind of want it to be a surprise for you once we get into the actual episode. But
how pissed are you going to be if I already know about it?
You may or may not have already heard about it. I don't know. I was talking with my dad about it, and he knows all about it.
Why does it not surprise me?
He watches History Channel like 24/7.
I was going to say, why does it not surprise me that your dad's into unsolved mysteries?
Well, yeah, because either if it's not football or whatever, he's always watching History Channel. Oh. So he's always watching those alien stuff, things, and all that.
Live, love, Lauren.
But yeah, the theme for February is Unsolved Mysteries. And to unsolve the mystery of today's episode, you're going to have to follow this podcast because we put out new episodes every Saturday, and check the socials for all that. Link in the description. But with that, let's get into today's Unsolved Mystery. All right, Kate, are you ready for today's Unsolved Mystery?
Part of me kind of wants to guess because there's so many that I know.
Oh, go ahead. Take a guess at it.
Okay.
Take a whack at it.
Is it the Flying Dutchman?
No.
Okay. Is it the Bermuda Triangle?
No.
Is it the Tic Tac?
The Tic Tac?
We need to cover the Tic Tac at some point this month because that is a wild journey.
There's an unsolved mystery involving TikTok?
No, the Tic Tac. It's
I thought you were just saying TikTok in a goofy way.
No.
I mean, the mystery of that is, why does the government feel the need to ban it? Anyway.
Oh, I'm so mad at the government today. Don't fucking get me started.
That's a topic for another episode. But no, you're nowhere close to...
Is it aliens related?
Well, not exactly.
Okay, lay it on me. What is it?
Have you heard of the DYATLOV Pass Incident?
Yes!
So you have heard of it.
Oh my god, this one's fun. I mean, not for the people involved, but...
Jesus Christ.
Bro, I have gone down several rabbit holes about this.
So, for people who do not know, the DYATLOV Pass Incident is an unsolved mystery involving the deaths of 9 ski hikers in the northern Ural Mountains on the night of February 2nd, 1959. The incident happened on the east shoulder of the mountain Kholat Syakhl, I'm sorry if I mispronounced this, which roughly translates to Dead Mountain or Mountain of the Dead.
This was in Siberia or Russia?
It was in Russia, yeah.
Yeah.
The mountain pass where the incident occurred has since been named DYATLOV Pass, after the group's leader, Igor Dyatlov. To this day, the incident has not been solved.
So, quick segue here. And That's Why We Drink covered this. And after M did their whole spiel, because they went on a deep dive too. After M did their whole spiel about this, I watched everything I could find. Because the story, the evidence that I'm sure you'll go over later, the evidence as to what happened here, insane. And it's insane that there's no explanation.
Speaking of watching, and this is why I got the inspiration to do it for this episode. one of the people I'm subscribed to on YouTube, Blame It on Jorge, he does a lot of like lost media and all that kind of stuff. He recently put out a video about this, this whole thing.
Were you watching that yesterday?
Yes. I was watching a little bit of it yesterday to try to get some notes. But then I was like, you know what? I'll just use some of the Wikipedia for some of this.
Because, oh my God.
Let's see. On January 23rd, 1959, a group of 10 hikers went on an expedition in the Ural Mountains that I covered. Like I said, the leader of it, Igor Dyatlov, was a 23-year-old radio engineering student at Ural Polytechnical Institute. Let's see. They formed, or a group was formed, Igor Dyatlov and like 8 other people.
And I don't know if you're going to go over this or not, but sorry, I'm going to keep interjecting because I love this story. Unless you don't want me to.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Everybody,
I'm probably already going to cover what you're going to talk about, but yeah, go ahead.
Everybody in this little group that Igor put together were very skilled and experienced hikers.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Like, there's no reason anything
you look at it, people stress that all these people were like, they knew what they were doing.
They're not amateurs. This wasn't their first. I mean, they were well equipped to go through this.
The group consisted of 8 men and 2 women, and most of the students were graduates of Ural Polytechnical, which is now Ural Federal University. Igor Dyatlov, Zenaida Kolmodorova, Ludmila Dubinina.
Obviously, we don't speak Russian, so please excuse the butchered pronunciation of these names.
Alexander Kolovatov, Rustam Slobodin, Yuri Krivonishenko.
I think it's Yuri.
Yuri. Well, yeah, there's 2 Yuris. There's like 3 Yuris, actually.
Well,
there's Yuri Krivonishenko, Yuri Doroshenko, Nikolai Thibu Brignolis, Semyon Zolotaryov, which I found out was actually, the guy was actually added kind of last minute. And then the last person that was added was Yuri Yudin.
Yeah.
Now, from what I saw, it was like a day into the hike because they arrived at like the start at like their base or whatever, or like where they all gathered together on the 23rd of January, 1959.
Because this was
in a place called Versailles.
Yeah, and this wasn't just like a regular like, oh, let's go hiking. If I remember correctly, this was like a test of some kind. Like they were getting certified for something.
They were doing a challenge and trying to get their like outdoors certificate or something like that.
So it wasn't just like a random thing they all decided to do. Like they had a purpose.
Let's see, they started the hike. Well, yeah, they got to the start of the hike on January 23rd and actually set out on the 27th. But on the 28th, Yuri Yudin, he decided to turn back because he was having a lot of joint pain and like health concerns. And little did Yuri know that decision saved his life. Because...
Could you imagine the survivor's guilt? Oh my God.
They'd just be like, Oh
yeah, spoiler alert, there's death involved. Trigger warnings.
I don't even get like the dates of when everybody was found. I think it was like February 20th is when they decided to note it, or when they noticed that, they didn't report back when they were supposed to. So authorities were sent out to, search for them, look for a search party, and I think they first found a tent.
So what's crazy is the first things that they saw right away. Sorry, I'm stealing your thunder, but I'm just like, I fucking love unsolved mysteries.
No, go ahead. No, it's fine. Go ahead. That's fine. That's fine. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, seriously, no. Go ahead.
So what's crazy is the first thing these investigators noticed, because the group never checked in at the first checkpoint. That was red flag number 1. So then when they eventually went out to go looking, they saw 4 or 5 tents set up like on a slope into the mountain, which like
they set it up because they set it up where like there was a snow wall on one side so that like if wind would go over the tent instead of hitting it.
It was super precarious, and it was not where experienced hikers would have set up camp. And not only that, but the damage to the tents, they had been cut, but they were cut
from the inside.
From the inside, like a doorway.
So whoever was in it was trying to get out.
Yeah. And So the first red flag was that they never checked into their first checkpoint. And the second red flag was that when the investigators got there, they were like, there's no reason these tents should be here. And none of these people would have put these tents here. So what happened?
And I think it was like 50 or so feet. It was a ways away from the tent that they found like five of the bodies.
Yeah.
And they were like missing clothes. They had very suspicious injuries on them. Like there was dry blood on them. There was burns on them.
There was burns on them. It looks like 2 of them had been found against a tree trunk, and the tree trunk looked like it had been scratched by a very big creature. We're probably giving a lot away before we even go over all these notes.
No, like 5 of them were found, well, obviously dead.
Yeah. No, there were no survivors.
They were
Spoiler alert.
Missing clothes.
Yeah, like they said that some of
missing
the
a boot, somebody was missing like a jacket or something. Like this is it's very odd.
So and that's why we drink covered this. Em had made the comment, I don't remember if it was Em or Christine, but one of them had made the comment that it seemed like the survivors had taken clothes off of the bodies that had already died, and that's why some of the women or the 2 girls were wearing the men's clothes. Because they had taken it. But then on the reverse, then you have some of the guys wearing the women's clothes, so I'm not really sure. It's an unsolved mystery for a reason.
I think like much later down the line, well, not much later, like I want to say like a week later, that they found there was an indigenous person in the area, one of the indigenous people that found a snow den, like a hole in the ground basically, with the other 4 bodies.
Yeah, so they had made it quite a bit further away from the tents than the first.
No, so it was 8 people that died technically. It was 9 total in the group, but Yuri turned back and
Yuri left.
8 people that died.
Yeah.
Yeah, they found the other 4 in a hole dug in the ground, because I guess what they suspect is that they're trying to build a stone end to like shield themselves. But what happened was that they dug that above like an underground creek. Mm. So what they think is that it caved in and just buried them alive in snow.
Which is possible.
But the other thing about that is that when they found those 4, they also had some suspicious injuries, like cracked ribs. Like some of I think there was 2 women that they found amongst the 4 that had like ribs that were broken that pierced like their lungs. Like one guy had a cracked skull. And it was just, again, very suspicious things. And also 2 of the women were, trigger warning, were missing their eyes and tongue.
Yeah, which was crazy because they were like, the investigators were like, okay, first of all, what caused them to leave their tents? Like, aside from where their tents were, and that was weird, what caused them to cut a hole in the back of the tent and escape into the freezing cold winter, by the way? And then also, what killed them? And then after that, what happened to their eyes and tongue?
So, as far as like an actual like reasoning behind it, that wasn't, there wasn't much. There was speculation for years, and it wasn't until like 2020 that somebody tried to officially rule it out as, an avalanche is what got them. But for the longest time, there were a few theories as to what happened to these people. The first one being, what if it was an experiment by the Russian government?
Yeah.
Because they believe that the area that they were, there might have been a gulag nearby. Mm-hmm. Which, for those who don't know, a gulag, and I'm not too sure on it myself, but from basically what I know, is that a gulag is like a Russian prison for like, criminals and like political prisoners. Mm-hmm. And because the weird thing is with some of these people, they had, it wouldn't be weird if they had like 1 camera with them, but they had like 5.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of them had camera equipment. Like, why do you need that much camera equipment when you could save space for supplies?
Well, and not only that, but to have all that camera equipment and no footage.
Well, the one picture they did salvage, or the last picture that was on a camera that they managed to salvage, was just a picture of a bright light.
Yeah.
So that leads people to believe that, like, oh, there was an experiment that gone wrong. Maybe the Russian government was testing like a nuclear weapon or something, because they did also detect radiation when they did the autopsies. So there might have been like a nuclear weapon that the Russian government was experimenting with, and they just happened to be, wrong place, wrong time.
Right.
The other theory as to what happened to these people, a lot of people believe it was a Yeti.
Can I be so honest with you?
Huh?
I wanted to be a Yeti so bad.
Because, and the video that I watched from Bleeping on Jorge, which, by the way, I can't recommend enough. Definitely check him out and everything else he does, because, my God, the guy goes in, like, he does his research.
Yeah, and it was super in-depth from the little bit that I watched with you.
Yeah, we should watch it again.
Here's the thing. I think... Well, we can get into our theories later, I suppose.
Well, the thing is with the reason behind the Yeti is because of, again, the 4 that were found in that hole.
Yeah.
Like, those injuries could only be caused by some big type of animal.
Right.
So a lot of people think it's Yeti because the Yeti would have the strength and everything to, cave somebody's chest in or, cave somebody's skull in.
Well, and that's the other thing that he said is that the one person, and I don't remember, I feel bad about this, I don't remember which person it was, but the one that had his chest caved in, they said in the video that we were watching that, like, the amount of pressure and force it took to have that happen would be the equivalent of getting hit by a car at, like, 35 miles an hour.
And for the people that, like, don't believe that, people believe that Yetis don't exist, they wanted to pass it off as maybe a brown bear. But the only problem with that is that this is January of 1959.
In Russia.
In Russia. Wouldn't the bears be hibernating? Like, I'm not saying that a bear could not do that amount of damage, because it very well could, especially a bear, in Russia.
So I feel like
if they were in hibernation at the time,
species of bears, I'm not a bear expert, I don't know for sure, but I do believe that there are certain types of bears that do, and I think grizzlies are one of them, they do kind of explore in the winter a little bit sometimes. And
that's part of the video I saw too, like the possibility that the bear did wake up like mid-hibernation because it was hungry. Also,
there's a possibility that the hole they were found in was very well a bear den.
And yeah, well, like the thing I saw was like, maybe a bear woke up from hibernation, and if, a bear, it wakes up from hibernation, it's gonna be hungry.
And it's gonna
but
be
the only
angry.
problem with that is that it wouldn't kill all 4 humans. More than likely what a bear would do would maybe get through 2, have its fill, and then, leave the others.
Yeah.
Because a bear is not likely just to, kill everything and then eat everything. Like a bear...
Bears, much like sharks, are not mindless killing machines.
Like, a bear has a limit to how much it's going to eat.
Right.
Like, if we go through the woods and a bear attacks us, it's going to eat me and probably leave you. Because I'm going to be the only one stupid enough to be like, all right, bear, let's do this.
No, it's going to eat you because I'm going to be the only one that's like, fuck that.
You're just going to be already gone.
I'm running.
Like, I'm going to be there and be like, all right, we got to make ourselves big, because if we make ourselves big, then the bear will go away, and you're just going to be already
and I'm already going to be half a mile down the road.
You're going to be a mile down the trail and just be like, you're on your own.
And I'm going to be yelling, I don't have to outrun the bear, I just have to outrun you. Love you, bye. I'll plan a beautiful funeral.
The other theory, I suppose there's like 2 other theories, one an official one and one I'm thinking of. As far as like the women who found without their eyes and tongues,
yeah,
they think that maybe it was some of the indigenous people of the area, because according to them, I forget the name of the people there.
Oh sure, blame the indigenous people.
But yeah, what am I, Christopher Columbus?
But sure, blame the bat. Why not?
From what I heard, yeah, and I gotta look it up again because I forget what the tribe is called, but apparently in that tribe it's considered sacrilegious for women to be on the mountain or whatever.
Sure.
So they think that maybe some people from the tribe or whatever found these people and cut out their eyes and tongue.
First of all, I don't buy that, because I don't think anybody in their right mind would have been out in those conditions.
Well, again, that's for the indigenous people, because they're probably used to living there. Well, because that's their land.
Well, right, but I'm sure they still shelter at night when it gets that cold and whatnot.
Yeah. The only other theory is that maybe somebody amongst them was the killer.
See, that...
Because there's some people that think that Yuri, you know, the one who turned back day one, came back to murder them all.
See, that's kind of my thought. And because I remember in the episode that I was listening to, the podcast episode I was listening to about this, they said that he was a last minute addition and the whole group like didn't really know him that well, and that he was kind of standoffish a little bit and just kind of weird and like kind of made everybody uncomfortable. And unfortunately, in as much fun as it would be to believe that there's a Yeti in the mountains of Russia just terrorizing people, usually in these cases the most simplistic answer is the truth, and the truth is more than likely the fact that there was human foul play involved.
I think my theory on it is that maybe because of the conditions, you know, they got into however many days in, and I think they all went kind of mad.
That could be too.
At least that's my theory. Maybe you know, the conditions got to them and they all went.
But that doesn't explain
cuckoo bananas.
That doesn't explain the injuries on them.
Well, yeah,
but there again, so I watch a lot of like true crime, and I watch a lot of like forensic files and things like that.
Now you currently having Dateline Unforgettable paused.
Right. Hashtag YouTube TV shout out. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so sometimes injuries are mistaken for other things, right? So maybe the fact that he had his chest caved in, maybe it wasn't actually caved in, right? Like maybe he just hit the tree and broke his sternum and it looked like it was caved in, and without having does that make sense?
Not really, but continue.
So how do I put this in layman's terms? So like sometimes injuries can look like other things, right? So sometimes if people are like, oh my God, you look like if somebody beat you up, like you have a bruise and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, no, that's literally just my skin.
Well, the only argument against that is that, you know, some people who like if they get bruises and stuff, more than likely it's actually a bruise, but whether or not it's because of like pain or because of something else, or like internally,
you know, sometimes if it's mangled enough, and not to get too graphic, but sometimes when people call in 911 after they find a body and they're like, oh, he looks like he got his face blown off with a shotgun, blah blah blah. Well, it ends up just being a bunch of stab wounds. You know what I mean? Like it's not necessarily what it looks like.
That, yeah.
So that's what leads me to wonder, was his chest actually caved in, or did he just break all the bones in his ribs?
I mean, impact? That's technically what chest caved in means.
Well, right, but like...
It means there's no bones in there. There's no chest to be had.
Well, right, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. Was it caved in because of outside force, or did he fall far enough and hard enough that all of his ribs just broke?
Or what if, like, something happened to it where, like, some of the bones broke and then, you know, falling into that hole made it worse.
Right.
So maybe his chest wasn't caved in initially, but maybe it ended up like that.
Right, because I know that they like to say, well, like, oh, something of great force had to have caved in his chest, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, falling 30 feet and landing on your back would do it too.
Yeah, and it's not fun.
You know?
And it's not a preferred way.
No. So that's why I'm thinking that the more plausible and likely answer is that it was human involvement. Do I believe that the Russian government could have been working on, like, doing experiments? Sure, absolutely. If you heard a strange sound in the middle of the night and just fully panicked, I'd probably cut my way out of a tent too. And then to be stumbling around in the cold and in the dark and scared, I mean, yeah, that's gonna lead to all kinds of disaster.
Yeah, my running theory for what actually happened is I think they all just went crazy.
And maybe
just offed each other.
And maybe it's partially that. And maybe Yuri did come back. Maybe he was feeling better and wanted to rejoin the group, and then they attacked him. And
what I want to believe is the Yeti.
I want to believe the Yeti. Unfortunately, I just don't.
Don't you know? Bumbles bounce.
Bumbles bounce. Looky what he can do. God, I love you, Con Cornelius.
Just, I'm imagining Bumble, like, not like the first introduction of him where he's like actually roaring, just like the afterwards where he's just like,
He's just kind of
just
dumb.
stumbling through the fucking.
No claws, no teeth.
You know what Yeti I'm picturing? Just offing all these people.
The Yeti from Monsters Inc.
Yes. Welcome to the Himalayas. Snow cone.
That would be so funny.
Oh my god. Yeah, I just saw a video on that. I thought it was an interesting topic to cover.
Yeah, bro, I could go down a fucking... Oh, I gotta love Unsolved Mysteries.
In the Wikipedia, under what killed the hikers, it just says, it is not known what happened to the hikers. The most likely thing is an avalanche hit them, and some of them struggled on until they died of cold and exposure. Only one hiker who left the group before the event happened survived. 6 of the group members died of hypothermia and 3 of fatal injuries. So they rolled that 6 of them just froze to death.
Also, I would like to point out that shortly after this ruling came out, the government came out and said, don't ask any more questions. This is what happened. Case closed.
Yeah. Under here is what investigators discovered. Investigators at the time discovered that the hikers tore open their tent from inside, ran barefoot into heavy snow, and a temperature of minus 30 degrees Celsius, or 22 degrees Fahrenheit, below negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, that's chilly.
Although the corpses showed no signs of struggle, negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit, and in Minnesota we call that a Tuesday.
Yeah, right.
Although the corpses showed no signs of struggle, 2 victims had fractured skulls, 2 had broken ribs, and 1 was missing parts of her face, such as her tongue. To dispel the theory of an attack by the indigenous Mansi people, that's who it is, or Mansai.
Okay.
Dr. Boris Vozrozdeny stated that the fatal injuries of the 3 bodies could not have been caused by another human being, quote, because the force of the blows had been too strong and no soft tissue had been damaged.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
Forensic radiation tests had shown high doses of radioactive contamination on the clothes of a few victims. Released documents contain no information about the condition of the steer's internal organs, and most notably, there were no survivors of the incident.
Well, no fucking shit. They didn't release internal organs. If his chest was quote unquote caved in, the internal organs are liquid essentially. There's nothing left.
Well, yeah, in this theory is that, and going back to the Russian government thing, a lot of people think that there was a missile that launched that misfired and crashed nearby where they were.
That would explain the radiation.
But yeah, to this day, nobody knows what happened.
That's
still.
Not true. 8 people know what happened. They're just dead.
Get out of here with your facts.
Bro, if there is such a thing as heaven, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find all the victims of unsolved mysteries and I'm going to be like, line up. We're going to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, but like, I mean, who knows if it'll ever get solved? I don't think it ever will, because I think, honestly, at this point, nobody cares anymore about it.
The government said, shut it down. Don't ask any more questions. And I don't know about you, but I sure as hell am not going up against the Russian government.
See, that leads me more to believe that the Russian government had involvement in it, because if they're just like, no, don't talk about it, shut up.
Spoiler alert, it's always the fucking government.
Like, if they're just like, nobody talked about it anymore, shut up, then I'm like, okay, what are you hiding?
Our government fully came out and said aliens exist to distract us from some other bullshit. So, no.
In the midst of 2020, the U.S. government was like, yeah, aliens exist. And we're like, yeah, we know. We're dealing with something else at the moment.
Collectively, as a country, we were like, we know.
Not now. We're like, not now. We'll deal with that later.
Give us a fucking second.
Just give me a second. Why can't anybody give me a goddamn second? Name that movie.
Oh, I don't know the movie, but I know the acting in it is superbly bad.
I forget the name of the movie, but I know it's Mark Wahlberg.
And Zooey Deschanel, I believe.
Yeah, it's like a scene where they're in a field and there's like people on each side of them just like asking them questions, and he's just like, just give me a second.
Aren't they like witnessing a crime or something?
It must be, or like somebody's coming for them, and Mark Wahlberg's just like, give me a second, why can't you just give me a goddamn second? Like, my God.
No, we're not gonna kill you.
That's another tangent I could go off on. Fucking Mark Wahlberg.
He's kind of a douchebag. I'm just saying.
And I can't get around his accent. I take him seriously with that accent.
His brother Donnie, on the other hand,
Like, fucking.
love his show. Very Scary People on ID.
What's that new movie he just did? Flight Risk?
Yeah.
There's part of the trailer I seen for it where he's like, well, first of all, he's got like a fucking skullet thing going on.
Yeah, I can't take him seriously with the fucking old
Like,
man.
the whole top of his head is just bald, and I'm guessing, that's just his character, like, he had fake hair or whatever. But at one point, he's like holding this guy, and he's just like, he says something like, open your eyes, this is the fun part. Like, dude, this is supposed to be a serious movie, and that fucking Boston, like, hey, can I get some Dunkin' Donuts accent is fucking taking me
Anybody
out.
want some coffee?
Give me some coffee. Want some coffee? Anybody want coffee? I'm making coffee. But yeah, anyway, that was the DYATLOV Pass incident. I thought it was really interesting, and I'm kind of, I'm not really surprised that you knew it.
It's true crime, kind of, and mystery, and unsolved, and paranormal, potentially. I'm fucking all about that shit.
But, yeah, let us know what you guys think happened. Let me know on the socials and whatnot. But I think with that, we're going to call it an episode here. Who knows what unsolved mystery we'll talk about next week, but that's the mystery of, that's the mystery of life. You never know what's going to happen next. But until then, drink your water, do positive things out there. I've been Cameron.
I've been Kate.
And as always, we'll see you in the next one. Nerds out.